Negotiating in any business is all about current momentum. It's not about 12 years ago. It's about current momentum. There are companies, I'll give you an example. When The Athletic, which is a subscription-based sports writing site, got purchased by the New York Times, The Athletic was losing $45 million a year. They bought it for scale. They weren't doing as well digitally, and The Athletic answered that bell. The Athletic still doesn't make money. They bought it for scale. Not every company that wins in negotiations or is sold is wildly profitable. But the projection for the WNBA going forward and the current momentum are really, really good. So the T-shirts don't bother me. But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
What is going on, Baller fam? We are back again with another documentary, keeping it consistent as promised. And this is a little bit of a different kind of documentary to what I usually drop, but it's very relevant as it is a hot topic right now in the WNBA. And I covered this in previous videos, specifically last year. This is why there's a part 2 in it. I'm just glad that we finally have a consensus with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. She's realizing that it will be more beneficial to be on Team Clark, because at the end of the day, they're all eating from the same entity. So I know it's controversial a little bit, but I felt like I had to cover this, and I'll let the videos and the visuals do the talking. Yeah, so let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Also drop a subscribe and like this video. It just helps with the algorithm and pushing it. I appreciate you, Baller fam.
Next question, row 3 in the center.
Annie Costable, Front Office Sports. This one's for you, Caitlin. Where does your W salary stack up against your deals with State Farm, Gatorade, Nike?
It's a good question. Honestly, I feel like that's where we're really fortunate, is that we have those other deals. And I think that's one of the things that we're in the room fighting for, like Fee said, is, we should be paid more, and hopefully that's the case moving forward as the league continues to grow. I think that's something that's probably the most important thing that we're in the room advocating about.
Next question.
WNBA All-Stars were wearing in pregame warm-ups. It said, "Pay us what you owe us." It spread like wildfire.
Sitting in the arena pregame, I was working on a story, but you could kind of feel the tenor shift. And then when I looked up, I saw on the video board that they had just taken off their warm-ups and they had these t-shirts on. And as the fans recognized it, like the roars started as they showed one player after another. And then come to the end of the game, like them cheering, "Pay them," during the TV interview, and Brittany Sykes walking behind with "Pay the players," definitely meant something to the players. They felt that immensely. Players afterwards said, like, the statement spoke for itself, and that's what they wanted, was to make noise and keep this at the forefront.
The point that the players were trying to make is, look, we are getting a lot of money into this league, that this league is growing at such a massive rate, and we want our fair share of that. If the league is going to be getting from 45 million to 200 million in the TV deal, we want part of that. We want to be paid for that, because we are a massive part of the reason.
Could kind of feel the tenor shift. And then when I looked up, I saw on the video board that they had just taken off their warm-ups and they had these t-shirts on. And as the fans recognized it, like the roars started as they showed one player after another. And then come to the end of the game, like them cheering, pay them, during the TV interview, and Brittany Sykes walking behind with pay the players, definitely meant something to the players. They felt that immensely. Players afterwards said, like, this statement spoke for itself. And that's what they wanted, was to make noise and keep this at the forefront.
The point that the players were trying to make is, look, we are getting a lot of money into this league.
We have percentages of revenue shared for the players. You know, if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well. In the WNBA, that's not the case. We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah, and this is bizarre considering the fact that the WNBA has always been subsidized by the NBA, and the WNBA's biggest issue was the fact that the product was not that entertaining, which has resulted in some very interesting theories as to how to improve the product, such as when Shaq suggested this to one of the WNBA's biggest stars.
I think if we just lower the rim so y'all can dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have.
No.
I don't see a lot of people going up with two hands and, back.
Oh, it's coming. My next child will be drop step dunking, I promise. I'm still thinking about
And it wasn't just Shaq that recommended lowering the rim, but also Tracy McGrady.
I've been playing basketball on a 10-foot hoop my whole life. So to move it to 9.5, it's going to take a long time to get used to that. And then also, we're only playing basketball to dunk? I'm not sure.
No, you playing to...
you just want to see me dunk on somebody? I don't know.
Eventually, the WNBA got their golden child. Caitlin Clark has boosted ratings for the WNBA in a way that we could have never anticipated. And the way they decided to thank her was very interesting, to say the least. Now, the reason why we're bringing this up again is because on July 19th, 2025, something unprecedented happened at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis. Every single player, and I mean every single one, showed up to warm-ups wearing identical black shirts with white letters spelling out, "Pay us what you owe us." This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing either. These players had been planning this protest after what they called a wasted opportunity in CBA negotiations just 2 days earlier. And get this, the crowd of 16,000 fans started chanting "Pay them" so loud during the MVP ceremony that players actually got chills. Nafisa Collier, who won MVP that night and is also the union VP, explained their position.
We get a very tiny percentage of all the money that's made through the WNBA, which obviously is through our entertainment, the entertainment we provide. And so we want a fair and reasonable percentage of that.
And here's where this gets interesting and why I said that there's zero business sense involved. But first, let me show you the numbers that had social media absolutely roasting these players. The internet was brutal. One viral tweet did the math. The WNBA is negative $50 million this year. So 50 million divided by 153 players equals $326,797 per player. They need to pay what they owe. Another user said that imagine being an employee at a company that has never turned a profit and showing up to work in these shirts. And that's not even an exaggeration. The WNBA just completed what they called their most successful season ever, and they still managed to lose $40 million. Think about that for a second. Record attendance, record viewership, record merchandise sales, and they still couldn't make money. Now here's the breakdown that'll make your head spin. The WNBA brought in $200 million in revenue, up from $102 million in 2019. Sounds great, right? Wrong. They somehow spent $240 million to generate that $200 million. You remember how I was consistently harping on the fact that having chartered flights didn't make sense for the WNBA? Yeah, this is where it comes back to bite them. But wait, it gets even worse. The league has been around for 28 years and has never, not once, turned a profit. Their total losses exceed $280 million. The NBA basically keeps them alive with a $15 million annual allowance for operations, marketing, and facilities. Plus, the NBA owns over 42% of the league. Now, let me be fair here. Before 2024, the WNBA genuinely wasn't popular enough to justify major pay raises. Just listen to this Shane Gillis joke at the ESPYs.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players.
The crowd literally fell for it because nobody knew any of the WNBA players. But here's where it gets interesting. Dave Portnoy, and trust me, he's not exactly a WNBA fan, made a crucial point about those financial numbers. The finances of the league are a mess, tied in with the NBA and purposely murky. The owners don't want to say how the league is doing because then you gotta pay more going into the bargaining agreement. And now these players want what exactly? Currently, WNBA players get 9.3% of league revenue. That's about $20 million split amongst all players. NBA players get 50% of their league's revenue. So the WNBA players want NBA money from a league that loses the NBA money each and every year, which is why fans have suggested that the WNBA is just a glorified tax write-off for the NBA. Now you might be thinking, Mike,
Maybe the players have a point about revenue sharing.
you know what? Maybe they do. But here's what really exposes their lack of business sense, and that's how they've treated the one person who's actually bringing in that revenue. And trust me, this story is going to make you question everything about how this league operates. Caitlin Clark didn't just impact the WNBA in 2024, she basically saved it. The numbers are absolutely insane. Indiana Fever games with Clark averaged 1.18 million viewers. Every other WNBA game, 394,000 viewers. That's a 3x multiplier for one player. Get this, 19 Fever games topped 1 million viewers. Only 3 non-Clark games hit the mark all season. The Fever's total attendance was 643,343, a 182% increase in the first team ever to exceed 300,000 home fans. Her jersey sales ranked number 2 in all of basketball. Not the WNBA, but all of basketball. Behind only Steph Curry and ahead of even LeBron James. The league made sure that 36 of 40 Fever games were nationally televised, more than some championship teams get. So you think that the league would protect their golden goose, right? You think they'd make sure she was treated well, marketed properly, and given every opportunity to succeed? Well, you'd be wrong, because what happened to Caitlin Clark in 2024 was a masterclass in how not to run a business. The treatment that Clark received from other players was straight up embarrassing for a professional league. On June 1st, 2024, Kennedy Carter hip-checked Clark off the ball for no reason, allegedly calling her an expletive first. The refs initially called it a common foul for this play, before upgrading it to a flagrant one later. Carter's response wasn't necessarily the greatest either.
After the Fever
I
score,
answered no Caitlin Clark questions.
did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good. She's good.
Angel Reese was literally caught on camera celebrating from the bench when Clark got knocked down. But that was just the beginning. Marina Mabrey shoved Clark to the ground in another game, and that got upgraded to a flagrant 2. DeJohn Carrington poked Clark in the eye during the playoffs, giving her a black eye, and Clark averaged 4.2 fouls drawn per game, which is the top amongst rookies. And how did Clark respond? With pure class.
Yeah, I think everybody's physical with me. You know, they get away with things that, probably other people don't get away with, and it's tough, but that's just the fact of the matter. Is like, this is a very physical game. You're gonna get pressure. That's just professional basketball. So
the racial dynamics became impossible to ignore. Asia Wilson said Clark's popularity advantage was a matter of black and white.
They've given so much to this sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. And in the WNBA last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were black, but they got half the coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate black women. So to Maria Taylor, Robin Roberts, Maya Moore, Odyssey Alexander, to all the incredible black women in my life, on my teams, to Breonna Taylor and all the lives lost, and to those names who have not yet learned, but I hope to share, I stand behind you, and I will continue to follow you and follow your lead and fight for you guys. So I just want to say thank you for everything.
Bottom line,